Alright, this is Sage Wanderer coming at you from my van down by the river. I hope the lighting is better today. I took my tactical flashlight, hung it in a plastic bag, and put it up over my head here to try to get this situation illuminated a little bit because it's a dark and cloudy day down here by the river. So, yeah, I would like to talk in this video about all the incidences leading up to the Civil War. So, I think all of the genesis of this particular conflict that is shaping up is it all starts with Donald Trump. I am not saying that this is Donald Trump's fault. I am saying that Donald Trump was elected by the people, and I believe that the left has been cheating for some time in the elections. I believe they've been cheating by using illegal immigrant votes, paid votes, and literally using the voting records of people that have passed away to cast illegal votes in their favor. I believe that they have pinched, shredded, twisted, and cheated their way into the White House with in the past, and that I think they tried to do this with Al Gore, and it was close enough that it came down honestly to a judge's decision is the only reason we got a George Bush Jr. presidency. And I believe that they cheated their butt off, that they were so arrogant right leading up to this election that they even had already produced the magazine covers proclaiming their victory for Hillary Clinton. But I think that the overwhelming support for Donald Trump was a shock to them, and that despite all of their cheating efforts, Donald Trump was elected anyway. Now, I'm not a Republican. I did not support Donald Trump, nor did I vote for him. I have said before how I, in the past, voted for Barack Obama. Why did I vote for Barack Obama? Because I had a sister who died a slow and terrible death, and the insurance companies were trying to cheat her out of every dime all along the way. That they weren't just sitting by and watching her die slowly. They were hoping that she would die so that they wouldn't have to pay her for her suffering and for her medical bills. And I wanted something done about the insurance. So part of the reason why I voted for Barack Obama was because I wanted to see the healthcare system overhauled. And unfortunately, it was overhauled and not for the better. So I don't have a horse in this race. I'm really more of a Republican now because of everything that's going on and how awful that the liberals are behaving. But ultimately, I'm in the middle. So I believe that this rigged election failed. They failed to rig it, and the American people spoke, and they elected a populist, a person who is pro-America and for the American people. And so this is what triggered it all. It starts with the marches. It starts with the protests. The protests change when Antifa becomes heavily involved. When the Patriots started to stand up to Antifa, things ratcheted it up. Then our Republican congressmen were shot while practicing baseball. And thank God for the two amazing Capitol Police man and woman who took this shooter out, or it would have been much, much worse. And I believe that the Las Vegas shooting was, in fact, a left-wing terrorist plot. That this Paddock person did not act alone. He was not a lone gunman. I think that there are thousands of Zapruder films on this thing. They were able to kind of cover up what happened with JFK, except for that one little camera that was out there that day when JFK was shot in Dallas that kind of monkeyed up their narrative. But this time, due to cell phones, there are thousands and thousands of videos, some of which are still being protected by the video possessors, by the people that shot the video, because they don't want it to be suppressed or altered or edited. And callers that are calling into talk radio and into call-in shows on the internet are exposing what really happened. There were multiple shooters. There were military-style weapons being used. And this was the most devastating shooting in American history. Then exactly 1 week later, to the minute, 10 p.m. on Sunday night is when the shooter started in Las Vegas. 1 week later, at 10 p.m. on Sunday night, the fires in California started to be lit. Now, I do not believe these were naturally occurring fires. One of the things I find incredibly ridiculous about the fire coverage is that no one is laying blame. They're just acting like this was some kind of natural thing. Was there a massive electrical storm that caused, lightning to start all these fires? I don't believe so. If it was, they would immediately have told us. It's the total lack of any hypotheses on how these fires in California were started. I believe there are people still running around and starting fires in California. And this goes right hand in hand with what I have heard directly from Antifa's mouth, where they threaten to burn our country to the ground. We're going to burn it all down and start over, is what they say. So here's where we find ourselves, asking ourselves, now, what is next? With the November 4th threat looming, I believe that the Civil War is already well underway, and the people of America, the freedom-loving patriots of America, the people who believe in the Constitution, the people who do not want to live under communist rule, are behind the curveball, that you don't understand that it's already going, it's already starting. So what's next? I suspect that there will be more fires. I suspect there may be also another shooting about to happen, or a bombing, or something like that. And I'm totally hypothesizing here, but I don't know that we'll make it to November 4th before something happens. I will say this, remember the 5th of November. So the 5th of November is a very important date to the anarchists. And I believe that these protests will be peaceful mostly on the 4th, but on the 5th, on the evening of the 5th, Sunday night at 10 o'clock, something bad is going to happen, or some things that are very bad are going to happen. So this is just basically going over the high points of the low points of how we got here. And once again, I'm just calling for everyone to be awake, alert, and aware. We are involved in a civil war. I'll give you a little hint to what started me on this. If you go back and look at my very first videos, I started this when the United Nations came out and publicly proclaimed that the United States was headed for a civil war. And honestly, this was before I even really had a clue that there was a civil war brewing. I was starting to think that there were problems that could lead to a civil war. I did not like the threats that were coming from Antifa and RAM and BAM. But when the United Nations predicted that, I checked into that exact prediction. Had that prediction been made before for other countries? And it had. Every single time the United Nations gave out one of these proclamations, within a couple of months, the country in question was deeply embroiled in a civil war. Is this civil war being manufactured by the globalists to take down America? I believe that it is. Does it make it less serious? Absolutely not. Do we want this war? Us people in the middle, us people on the right, us sane individuals? None of us want it. Can we avoid it? I don't think so. I think we're stuck with it. I think now all that's left is, what are we going to do about it? I fear a backlash from the right, because I think most of the people on the right believe that the targeting in Las Vegas reveals the motive, that you can deduce the motive by who was attacked. This was not a random attack on random people in Las Vegas. This was a specific attack against country music fans. Who are they? Patriot, gun owners, Republicans, and Trump supporters. I think that attack was for the purpose of riling up the right and creating a backlash, and therefore pushing the buttons that would push us into a massive nationwide civil war. Now, why are they covering it up? Well, I think it's because there's a civil war going on within our law enforcement at the highest levels. I think that there are some that want to start the Civil War, have already given themselves to it, and want to kick it off and get it going. And I think there are others that are trying to stop it, trying to, the reasonable people, the sane people that are in law enforcement on the federal level. And you see this struggle in the Las Vegas story between the county sheriff and the FBI handlers who are standing behind them. Look on the internet if you're not already well versed on this. One way to tell a liar is they change their story. And this story is changing quicker than a Hollywood model can change her clothes. And so this is a cover-up already. And I think that there are those within the government that want to cover it up. But I also think there are those that want to expose it, and they're at war with each other. And this is one of the reasons the story keeps changing. There is the connection with the Mandalay Bay hotel owner. This guy is a globalist. He has matching fund. What's the word I'm looking for? Like if you give to a certain charity, then the hotel will match your gift. All of these recommended charities to give to are all charities that can, if you follow the money, eventually it ends up in the hands of Antifa and other groups like that. That this guy that owns this is a liberal left wing. Let's not forget, the room that Paddock was in was comped to him by the casino. Everyone asks, how can he get almost 2,000 pounds of firearms and ammunitions into that hotel room without somebody going, what? There's reports coming out now that housekeeping was forbidden from going in that room from the time he checked in. Did they literally help him carry this stuff up there? So all of this is very stinky. It's all suspicious. And I think it falls right in line with my narrative that we are in a civil war. I want you guys to be hyper vigilant, hyper aware, and start preparing now. And mainly, you're going to need food. Get the food now before they shut off the spigot. This has been a long-winded video, but this is a big deal, and I'm going to keep making these videos till they shut me down. So that may be today with the way that YouTube's been going. All right, peace out, and God save the Republic.